I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise. Sam, would you care to have a prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you again this evening to say thank you for your love and mercy and grace. May the Lord just ask you to guide us, strengthen us, let the Holy Spirit have its way with us, and bring us close together as a community, as a county. Lord, the council's got a lot of decisions to make, Lord, and it's tough sometimes, but just be with them, Lord, be with everybody here, and be with our new 911 director, Dave Costin, for all the work that they're doing. Just praise your holy name, Father God, and please forgive us for we fail you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you've not already done so, please sign in. All right, we are all here except for Verl and Nick. All right, next is approval of minutes. Please take a few minutes to look over these. Hopefully you've already looked over them, but
I seen that one change myself.
okay. Do you want to specify what that is?
Okay. Under soil and water, we had a motion and a second. It doesn't have the total of the vote.
I'll have to check the meeting minutes or the transcripts and see.
Yeah. Not a biggie, but might be to some.
Yeah, page 3.
Or June 8th, what am I talking about?
September.
September 8th, yeah.
Yeah, I've got my notes, I might have it here.
It's not in my notes, I just,
Okay, so it was to update the budget. I made the motion, Verl seconded it, is that the one?
Right.
It was 6-1 vote.
6-1, okay.
Now, I don't have a note of who the one was, so, but it was a 6.
Okay.
Was it? Okay,
All right, then.
so there you go.
I do have on September 22nd, the motion for COLA to 1.5. You have me and Verl abstaining. We actually voted no.
oh, did you vote no? It's
That's
hard
what I
for me
got
to
as
tell
well.
if you're not raising your hands or what, yeah.
I went, like this, you didn't see it?
I'll go back to the transcript and see.
Oh, okay, I see it. So did Verl abstain and you voted no, or did you
Both
both
voted no.
voted no? Okay. All right. Any other corrections anybody has seen?
I'll move to approve both minutes with the corrections that's stated.
Motion made by Daniel, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Steve. Any questions? All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay. All right, financial reports.
Monthly reports, requiring balances. I'm gonna start doing these a little different. I wanna make sure if I'm looking at cash balances and I'm concerned, or there's issues and we're getting close, especially getting to the end of the year and some of the line items. So if you see a difference in your next meeting faculties, just, we've got to make sure that everybody no later than your November meeting does their additional appropriation request for the end of the year, because December would be the last meeting date for them to hear it. So, other than that, we're looking good, we're gaining, almost there on the 5,200 on the payroll clearing.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, the others are just the grants.
So the last meeting for additional appropriation, at least the initial request to advertise would be at our November meeting for December action.
And you have in your packet tonight, from your last meeting, and anything that is in there tonight will be your November meeting. But I don't think we have anything.
Right, I'm talking about final
For your
request for the year,
December meeting.
November, and then December would be
Yes.
it. Okay, great.
And depending on when you move your November meeting, if you move it to the 17th, we'll have to make sure that it is to the paper by that Friday in order to have your 10-day period before your December meeting starts. So,
Got it.
and there's
Do
no
we-
exceptions, so you can't call a special meeting, there's not enough time for any other advertisements, so I'll really look at your budgets close and
So on the Surveyor's Corner Perpetuation Fund, where does that money come from?
There's a fee. There's a fee that is collected through the recorder of the documents, and it gets receipted into that fund.
Okay, all right.
What's it typically used for?
It is for cornerstone certification markings, which can be done by a licensed surveyor or contracted out to a firm, which is usually what we do.
On the November meeting, do we want to discuss that on having that on a different day from our usual scheduled time? Did you know, I mean, we had talked about the Jennings Township and if we need to have an extra meeting on that.
not heard back from Anna at DLG yet. The last that we heard from Barry yesterday, she seemed to think we needed to have a meeting on the 24th, Friday, next Friday, and again on November the 3rd. That was your time window for the 10th. However, Anna called me and she said that the rules have changed and she was gonna check with Barry, but she did not feel we needed to. And she would hopefully have me an email by the end of today, and I've not got anything yet, so. If you wanna make motions to go ahead and advertise those two meeting dates, and then if we need to cancel them, we can. I have until Friday to get them to the paper for.
Do we want the November 3rd one to be our regular meeting instead of, we had talked about rescheduling, the 13th would be, no, wait a minute, no,
The 10th.
The 10th was our-
You were talking the 17th.
Right.
But if you gotta have one on November the 3rd.
We might as well make it official.
then
Yeah, that's kinda what I
just
was
It's not a
thinking.
bad
follow the
idea.
Same night.
Does the 3rd work for everyone? Is that okay with
Let me
you?
double check that.
Try it.
Okay.
300 times away.
Yeah, that works for me.
Well, do we want to go ahead and put that in motion, move it to our regular meeting from the 10th to the 3rd? That we were covered if we do have to have. Anybody want to make a motion?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna make a motion that we reset our November 10th meeting to November 3rd instead at 6 o'clock here at this location.
Motion made by Anton.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
Second by Daniel. All those in favor? Motion carried.
And we'll also advertise for the 24th.
Okay,
You have to,
yeah.
And that'll be October 24th, that Friday.
Friday night,
Do we need a motion for that as well?
yes.
Okay.
Who seconded that last one?
Daniel.
Okay.
Someone want to make a motion for the October 24th meeting?
What's that meeting?
Jennings Township they're the only one that has to have council approval. And to be able to approve their budget at the correct time, we would have to have a meeting on the October 24th and then would the public hearing be on the 3rd then? Okay. So, okay.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we set or advertise a meeting for October 24th, 6 PM, for the purpose of Jennings Township only at this location.
Motion made by Anton, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Daniel?
October 24th,
Yes.
Friday?
Yes. All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay. So any more about the financial reports?
And the
Other
one thing to keep in
questions?
mind too is that our settlement will be in December for the levied funds. So those particular cash balances will reflect that, which will be helpful, so.
On you were talking about the payroll clearing, and, I mean, so
It's
that's,
our pass-through fund, and
Yeah.
we're finishing up our audits, and hopefully, maybe by your next meeting, it'll be zero balance.
Oh,
And hopefully
great.
by next week, we'll have it down to zero. It'll always carry over in your December because you have a split payroll, so it'll always carry over the end of the year negative, but that's one that the State Board of Accounts doesn't audit. So
okay, okay, good, 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 good. All right, moving on. I hereby open the public hearing for the 2026 budgets. Any public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, so. You want to guide us along?
is there anybody that here?
Anyone that wants to make a public comment? Okay.
Acknowledge. Do we have to acknowledge our emails?
No. Okay, I hereby close the public hearing for the 2026 budgets.
I really want to thank Sheila and her staff for working on this. Despite the fact that many of us have done this for multiple years, there's always some twist or turn in working with the DLGF and the process. And she's really doing the best possible in interfacing with them. And I think we have set this up to be as flexible as possible, as we've tried to do in years past, because if you recall, when that 1782 notice comes
Right.
in, we need to be able to make sure that the appropriate allocations are in place, considering the cash balances, the revenue, and the demands on those funds. And in previous years,
I think
They've-
we've learned
they've
how
been-
to make
they've
it
been
a little
stuck.
more flexible, yeah.
right, so, yes, some numbers are gonna be artificially high just for advertising purposes. That's
Right.
by design, it's recommended, it's a good practice, there's nothing wrong with it at all. And that really allows us then to finish it and get it turned back in by the deadline in December.
In fact,
typically
that's
December, so.
what they have recommended we do, so we are just following the state's lead.
Yep,
We did add an extra million in the levy funds, as well as an extra million in the county general fund. That gives you flexibility both sides. You cannot move money from the county general to the levy, but you can move money from the levy to the county general if needed. So, and we have 10 days to return when the 1782 comes back, so if you go ahead and make a motion to make sure, we usually get it first week, second week of December, but it could come in earlier because I know it's on top of their pile right now. So
Okay.
after the 27th meeting for your official adoption, we could possibly have it before Thanksgiving, she said.
That'd be great.
well, and you know, last year they were able to help time it. And so if we make sure that they know when our December meeting is, we could have it so that they release it like December 4th. And then that way our 10 days hits, and then we're able to then vote on, formally accept the report.
But do we need to make a motion now to make it, give
think
you
at our next meeting
flexibility
we
at
probably
the
should do
next
that.
one?
Yeah,
Okay.
actual adoption.
During the adoption, yeah.
All right,
But I think we're setting it up to be flexible.
Yeah.
So,
any other comments on the budgets or questions?
And we appreciate the department heads' work on this. We had a pretty smooth and efficient budget workshops, set of workshops, and some follow-ups, and we really appreciate our department heads and elected officials in working with us on that, so.
We sure do. All right, if there's nothing further, we'll go on, and I hereby open the public hearing for additional appropriations requests. These were already advertised.
So on the sheriff ones, those are just a follow-up or a supplemental, if you will, to those original recommendations involving a variety of catch-up items and equipment and things like that. What, can you give us a little overview as to what kind of happened with that? Because it is odd that kind of all of them wound up being under and.
Yeah, so the radios were, we ended up going to AME. And I'm glad because there's a couple things that we don't know about computers. And so when we got the bids, we just punched in, this is what we need,
Okay.
and you actually need something else, but we didn't know that because we're not computer people. The vehicle for the jail vehicle, we had asked for the all-wheel drive version because we go to Michigan City and stuff like that to pick up prisoners. They quoted us the two-wheel drive version. We didn't know that. So that was the other cost. Those were the reasons.
So just some technical things and,
Yes.
okay. Well, and it's probably good they were caught because otherwise you'd be stuck with something that maybe is not.
Right, like affect snow with a two-wheel drive thing.
Yeah. And then on the highway, I know that generally we've been trying to play some catch-up here from some previous actions. But I'll say, it just seems like we may, have we gone too far with this? Because, this is a lot of money, 700,000. We already did one, I think, maybe June, May or June. I may be wrong on that, but I thought we already did an appropriation then for like 500 or another large figure.
No, we did.
So,
You did, we paid the back bills, that's what the 500,000 for
at that time.
at that time,
Okay.
yeah. And we have one or two smaller bills, but we have work coming that we have to get done this year. Like we're getting ready to go, Chad's, he's here. We're getting ready to go to Rattlesnake Road and replace that pipe underneath Rattlesnake Road there by the lumber yard. It's gonna be a culvert pipe and stuff like that. Now, that money is reimbursable through FEMA, but we don't know when that's going to happen. But we have to get that road fixed now. As soon as they get done with the CCMG, Chad, I'm almost big head of you, if you can just jump in. We gotta get to Rattlesnake, but then we got to go to Rocky Hill Road. If anybody's been on Rocky Hill Road lately. And we got to do some repairs, even though they're only gonna be temporary. We gotta do something for when winter gets here. It's gonna cost some money.
What's the end of Rocky Hill Road?
North from Cuba's head, we're gonna start from Cuba, head south.
How far?
Probably a mile and a half, probably all the way to Keeler Road.
Probably.
Is you think it's a coincidence that the road's terrible and it's got semi trucks on it all day?
No, it's not coincidence, but we're dealing with water company out there as well too.
They're aware?
Yeah, they are aware. I know Commissioner Rich, you talked to one of them, they're willing to put up some money too for that, but the old saying, you got water, was said, show me, don't tell me. But we've got some work we gotta do on Rocky Hill before winter gets here. If not, we're gonna find ourselves.
And that road is extremely bad on our fire trucks.
Yes,
It's
sir.
extremely bad on our fire trucks.
Then we got the multitude of equipment that's gotta be fixed. I want to commend Commissioner Rist. He is in the process of selling the oil truck. that we purchased, that we had to purchase. He's got, Dave, you gonna talk about that, even this week?
The distributor truck we sold, well, it's gonna be sold, and the paper, we have it sold too. We should know more about that in November. But we're not in the paving business, so.
We're not on chip and seal business no more.
And the distributor truck, that way it'll save us a lot of money next year since we don't have a distributor truck.
We can't afford the payment.
Yeah.
But the one thing about it, and don't want to talk over Chad, 'cause he's here, is, you know, people get numerous calls every day about CCMG roads, blacktop roads, and stuff like that. Well, and we've said it, and we're gonna say it again, we don't blacktop nothing anymore until the ditches and culverts are put in. And if anybody's been down on Freedom Road, they're blacktopping that now. They've done a great job down there in culverts and stuff. But it doesn't end on the CCMG roads. We're going to put in culverts and ditches on other roads that are not CCMG roads. They're county roads, and the taxpayers deserve the best from the county highway, and they're going to give the best. But this money that you're going to appreciate you appropriating it tonight is going to go for that kind of work. We can't stop. We got to continue. We got to get this in continued motion, because what's going to happen is we don't know how much money we're going to get for the CCMG for next year. There's talk of $1 million, could be less than $1 million. Fact of it is, we're going to contract out paving and chip and seal a lot of roads, but we have to get those roads prepared for chip and seal. I've been turning a lot of counties and stuff, and we got a good avenue, and I know a lot of taxpayers don't hear there, so I don't want my road chip and sealed. I'm sorry, some roads are gonna be chip and sealed, but if they do it like they did in Orange County, chip and seal road, we're gonna start putting all the roads on rotation. Because if you notice that the blacktop roads that has been done in the last few years, that's it. There's nothing been done for them since. You've got to come back and reseal those roads every so often to keep them from cracking. We don't want to waste taxpayer dollars, so this money is going to go for, one, repair some equipment. Dave's getting rid of, we're getting rid of all the junk. It's going bye-bye. The paper's going bye-bye, the chip and seal, we're out of that business. But he's got some stuff that's got to be fixed. We got to get road ready for the winter. We got roads that's got to be prepped before winter gets here. That's a major undertaking for these guys before the snow flies, and that's what this money's gonna go for.
I also need to get vehicles fixed up prior to winter. All kinds of issues with trucks out there right now, loaders and so forth. And I talked to Polly last week, and I want her to come down, I want all of you to come down to the highway department and go out there, and I will show you what needs fixed.
Yeah, I definitely,
I have a ton of stuff broke out there, and it's been neglected for so many years. We're gonna fix it.
Chad, you got anything to add to the money that we're asking for?
Quite a bit of it's gonna go for equipment and truck repair just to get ready for winter.
All right.
A huge amount at winter time.
So it's not so much for as much catch-up on invoices
There's-
as it
there's
is,
a-
there's maybe some, but they're all paid.
It's paid.
Okay.
Well, there's one, and
We're
there's
paying.
payment plans
We
online.
got, the Evergreen deal was one, it was a big one, but they took, thanks to Sheila, once again, hats off to Sheila, they took a payment program where we can pay that off, which is great for us, because we can make the payment.
That is very good.
But like Dave said, if you get a chance, go out to the county highway, take a look around. Chad is doing a wonderful job. I thank you for it. We're down to 14 people, and we got office staff. Get that off, I can't even remember her name. She's sitting right in front of me. Benita. All I can think of is, she worked up there at the Benita. But anyway, we're down to a small group of people. But we're getting out of the paving, chip and seal business, stuff like that. We need to be in the maintenance of the road business, not paving and not chip and seal.
I got a question. When you sell that equipment, where does that go?
There's the question. Okay, now we put in for additional in our budget. Everything we sell that equipment, that's gonna be going to a line item to fund only roads, paving or chip and sealing of roads, only, nothing else. Maybe use it for putting in culverts or something like that. It's not gonna go to maintenance on vehicles, anything like that, because we're gonna need every dollar we can get to put towards the roads. So we're hoping if the state approves the budget, that'd be great. Then we'll have some extra money, we'll sell off some equipment. You won't believe how many culverts we have to put in this county. A ton, bunch.
What is the estimated, and I know it's a little bit of a rough figure, but on the sale of the equipment, the paver and the distributor truck, like what kind of money are we talking about getting from
Truck,
that?
we owe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheila, like $331,000 some odd dollars on there. I sold it for $350.
Okay.
The paper, they ran anywhere because it's used and it's been sitting outside and not kept inside. So it's got some issues, okay, as far as hoses and this, that, and the other. They range from anywhere from 175, about 225, and we sold it for 200,000.
We owe anything on that one, or did we
No.
buy it outright?
No.
Okay.
Good.
No, we owe nothing, now we owe on the distributor truck, we owe,
Right, right.
but on the paper, we owe nothing.
So about 225,000 is what we're kind of generally, I'm just thinking here,
Yes.
is what we're thinking, in the clear.
I didn't hear you.
225,000 probably in the clear, somewhere in there,
Yeah, pretty close.
just rough math.
Just rough money.
Okay.
Is there any kind of ordinance or
Gotta have an ordinance
that says
to
if,
create the fund. Commissioners need to have their attorney create an ordinance.
would that fall under like a surplus equipment sale? Because I'm sure there's guidance on where that money goes.
Not the distributor truck, because it's brand new, it hasn't gone through the system. A motion to pay it off as soon as the money comes in, we'll have to do the transition, because it'll be a couple weeks before they can actually take possession of it, because we gotta go through and make out a claim to the bank and get it paid off before we can get the title cleared and all of that.
And I'm all for, obviously, the money going to the roads, but I'm just, if money come out of one fund to buy something and then it's sold, I would think that would need to go back to that fund.
The surplus can, if you create a fund, the surplus can go into that fund, even though it was paid from elsewhere. It varied over the years. Most of their equipment was paid out of the 1176 fund. So even if you put it back in the 1176, you can still transfer it to another fund, whatever fund number you set up to use. You just don't want it going into the cash balance and losing the cash balance. That's kind of where we're at, like with the sheriff's fund right now. On December 31st, whatever is in his line items that you guys reserved, we need to get it into that new fund. And then you guys can do appropriations along the way as you need it. It's not a specific amount, but you don't want to let it keep rolling over in the cash balances, because it just gets lost in budget.
Well, yeah, and I think in the case of the jail, we were gonna make the first payment anyway by appropriating from 1170, so we're good, we don't necessarily need an ordinance there, but you bring up a good point, because if you're gonna earmark it for a specific purpose, you can't earmark a line item. I mean, we can trust you to earmark a line item, but there's nothing really binding. So you'd have to create a fund that would receipt the sale money and then appropriate it for the purposes of the ordinance at that point. So that would be the approach.
Whatever needs to be done, but it's
Yeah.
strictly going for the roads and nothing else.
My only concern with that, though, and I share Joe's concern, is if we used 1173 or 76 money to buy them originally, then I would kind of want that money to go back into that fund, especially if we've got a $700,000 appropriation in front of us tonight. You know, we only have so much cash in there as it is. We're going to spend down the cash by 700,000. Then we're towards the end of the year.
We have $700,000 to get us through the end of the year.
So your obligations between now and the end of the year are going to be met.
We hope. I mean, that's.
We hope.
That's our
Okay.
hope, yes.
And then bills have been paid, so the past bills, that's all already reflected in the cash balance of 1173 and 1176.
Yeah,
So no, there aren't any more surprises there.
well, we hope.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to it. No, but there shouldn't be, there shouldn't be. Okay.
We hope there's not.
Heaven forbid, right?
But that's budgeted money.
So if you look, I have the cash balance in the 1176 right now, there's 276,000. We're due to get this month's 143,000. Still, the only thing coming out of this fund is payroll. Until January hits and we get new monies, you do have to be careful what is in there. So you wouldn't want to put everything that you make in there and keep in that cash balance. You would want to be able to have the flexibility to spend it. You would build the cash balance, but
And that's 1176. The request is out of 1173. What kind of balance is
it's
that?
got 1,150,000 in it. But if you look 2 lines above it, you only have $41,000 left this year's appropriated budget. So if you guys don't give them money tonight, that's all they have left to spend the rest of the year.
Okay. And that doesn't count, obviously, there's a few more months left of revenue.
Yeah,
November's,
October, November, and December's 142, 45,000 goes
Each
in
month.
Each month.
so 283, so about 400 and some $1,000 between now and then will go in as normal revenue. So I guess simply put, our obligations, they will be met. The current budget between now and the end of the year will be met. The cash balance supports it. We're up to date,
Sure.
assuming no more surprises on bills. So in your opinion, the 700,000, you can get away with that. You can appropriate that, use it, and not affect our operations negatively.
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna go negative at all. We're not gonna do that. If something happens, stuff like that, we'll sweep floors. We
Okay.
won't spend no money. I mean, that's the bottom line. We're not gonna go negative. But we can't operate on the $40,000 for the rest of the year at all.
And the money that is reimbursable, it has to go
Right.
back into this fund.
Yeah.
And then if they
Yeah.
need it, they would have to come back and request it again, but you do have to put per the state and federal guidelines, it has to go back where it came from.
Do you have anything in writing yet that says, yes, we will reimburse you?
Yeah, I've got 6 projects so far that I have work orders on and everything, and putting bid packets together for contractors to come out and look at it. But those 6 for sure are.
And they'll reimburse up to 75%, right?
75%.
What is the maximum dollar amount we would anticipate recovering through the FEMA funds? What kind of money are we talking about?
We don't have a problem.
I don't actually
We
have
don't
it
have an
right now, I
idea.
don't think.
They don't know what it costs you
If
for
we're
the
still
projects.
working on it.
Are we talking hundreds of thousands? Are we talking tens of thousands?
Well,
Are we
we've got-
talking a million?
We've got a couple bridges that we're still working on. If the
Okay.
bridges go in effect, we'll be in the millions.
Okay, okay.
So the projects, Chad, we got Rattlesnake Road, then is it?
Fish Creek,
Fish Creek, Server, is that the bridge?
Server's one of the bridges that's, we're,
Yeah.
doing some engineering on, and Thompson Road Bridge.
The server one should, we talked about that earlier when the governor was out. That's one that ideally would go through the state, as opposed to us footing the bill for that, correct? Because that leads to their state forest. And that's what he said, was the fact that this bridge leads to one of my state forests, we can't have that. Now, it's probably, it could be smoke and mirrors, but that 100%'s gotta be pursued before we just,
There's nothing
fish the
been-
money on it.
Yeah, there's nothing been wrote in stone about that yet, Joe. I understand where you're coming from, but there's nothing wrote in stone from anybody from the state or anybody on that yet, nothing. And the reimbursement was up to 75%. Now, they're saying once the project has to be complete, let's just take Rattlesnake Road, we go out there and fix that, put in the box culvert, pave it and all that stuff. They told us in the meeting, maybe 45 days to get reimbursement. Maybe. Maybe. We don't know. We're just, you're kind of at their mercy. But we don't get no money until the project's done. So we have to go ahead and do Rattlesnake Road and spend the money
Yeah.
ahead of time and wait for the reimbursement. And that's part of some of this money here. I mean, if we don't get the money, we don't do Rattlesnake Road. We can't start.
Come to that November meeting and ask him.
Yeah,
Oh, I got a lot
That
of
November
questions.
10th.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, I don't,
It's not gonna be a
I don't
good
want
meeting.
us to lose sight of that money though, because it's happened before. We get to a point a year down the road, and even with getting a reimbursement, we're short somehow. Like we already spent it, or we've double spent it. We've got to make sure that doesn't happen.
And we
So
have
we
no
gotta-
intention of double spending anybody's money.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Or I should say overspending. You know, it's happened.
It has, it has.
Yeah.
And we could just beat up some dead bones here real quick. Piss poor management, but it's not just from the county highways part either. It's a domino effect on this right here, and I don't wanna bring it up because there's no reason for it. But the fact of it is, we're determined to make sure that there's not any overspending. I think if anybody's got their eyes open, they'll see that this county highway's headed in a direction that's never been before. But sometimes it takes upfront money to get the projects done, so people can see. If we get that money from the state, the people in Owen County is gonna see a whole different light in their roads. It's just a tough situation. I don't wanna bring up anything, but, you know, we spent almost $2 million of money to make up for an inheritance that we got. And we're done, we're over it. We're moving forward, we're doing the things that we think is right to do. And, yeah, I know we're asking for more money, but if we don't get the money, we don't move.
And I think you said a couple months ago that we ended up coming out a little better than anticipated on our backlog, if you will.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate, I guess, in that respect.
We are, and we're fortunate in a lot of ways, you know, and once again, we're waiting on the state to tell us what we're gonna get for CCMG. We're hoping it's $1 million. That'd be nice if we get $1.5 million, but now, I had a conversation yesterday, and we may be fortunate if we get $600,000. But the fact of it is, it's not going to stop us from repairing and trying to fix roads with every dime that we can muster up, selling equipment, whatever we need to do. All that money that we get, that little extra here, and there, is only going towards the roads. We're not buying fuel with it, we're not going out and buying no new equipment, because we can't. But we got to get ahead of, we got to get the horse ahead of the cart now, instead of having the cart before the horse. And we have to make sure we're doing due diligence, and my hat's off to these two commissioners and Chad and the staff. We're trying to right some wrongs. That's not our fault. But you got 3 commissioners now, so, you know, we got the bull by the horns, and things are gonna go, this got to go this direction now. And I think you have seen that, that's where we're headed, but it takes money to get there.
We appreciate the passion
Makes me heart attack.
In
Anyway,
conversation,
we know it's a lot of money, but
in conversation last week with Benita on the crossings grant, again, got written up for it again. We're going to do individual line items for each one of the roads that are put in there. We can do the same thing with any of the FEMA roads that come in, if there's certain amounts or what it is spent on, so we can keep track of it better. It's not that big a deal to add more line items.
How is that already not a thing?
It's
it
never-
wasn't, see, there you go, Joe. I said, it's the same.
Question?
Either we can either leave the past in the past and start fresh and move forward. We have to start backing up. These meetings are not gonna be very nice. I don't wanna do that. I wanna move forward. I think we got a great team put together, got a good council, and got good commissioners. These two guys, Chad, he called me the other day, nervous wreck. He lost 2 pounds talking to me on the phone. But, you know, he's got passion for it. He wants to do what's right and stuff, and that's a learning curve, but this is not a dictatorship. This is not run by 1 or 2 people. This is run by 3 commissioners, and Dave has went out and done some phenomenal stuff. I'm getting prices cut on stone. He got some awesome prices on stone cuts, selling the equipment, and Norm, hats off to him. I just ask, you know, I put my faith in God. You're just gonna have to trust us to do the right thing. If we don't do the right thing, you know, it don't take me too much to say I could do my job, and all it's not in my position, but right now, we're moving forward.
I don't wanna get too far off the 700,000, but when you said that on those projects, they're gonna start having line items for each, is there not just a guide that every department is supposed to go and follow on how we track every dollar that we spend?
You have your budget, you have line items, you budget amounts in them as you approve your budgets, and everybody is supposed to stay within those line items or what those requests were, unless they do an additional appropriation or a transfer. Unfortunately, not all departments pay attention to either their cash balance or their line items, and then by the time they get to you, you guys don't have a choice but to say, here it is. I've not had involvement and control over the highway like I have the last 9 months to get us $1.5 million paid of claims. But to try and help Benita better and Chad and them to keep track of stuff, it is just easier. Let's put it in line items. Let's try to make sure because I'm tired of getting written up for it.
And that's, you make a good point. I know, and hats off to Benita. She's learning. She went to the conference and stuff. But here's what's happened, and this happened in the past. And I don't care who likes it, who don't like it. You can't just go out and spend and do stuff because you want to do it. Because, like you say, once the work is done, the bill's got to be paid.
Yeah.
Then the council has to appropriate money to fund the paying the claims. And that's happened over many years. Claims come in, the bills get paid, we have to pay the contractor, come to you guys for the appropriations. The fact of it is, spending money before you get it doesn't work.
And usually by the time it gets to us, it's already spent. So, and then we have to, you know.
It's like CCMG, you got 5 roads at $20,000 apiece, and you spend $22,000 on the first 4 roads, you're short $8,000 when you come to road number 5.
Yeah.
You can't go ahead and spend $20,000 on road number 5. But that's some of the things that's happened, and not just with that, with other things. Then you come to the council and say, well, yeah, we screwed up. You know, mistakes happen, things happen, overage happen, stuff like that. But you got to have a change order to go with that, to make so unions will know, here's the change order, here's the different scope of work. Steve would know that real well. Scopes of works change sometimes. You have to have change orders. But in the past, it was just, well, overspending. So we're trying to curb it. And Sheila, once again, hats off to her. She's watching us like watches the ham sandwich.
Yeah, I agree. And I know Benita's working hard too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yes.
you're,
She's trying to learn so much. There's so much
I mean, she's
further
got a
to
lot
learn.
dumped in her lap.
But anyway, we're on the right track.
Well, good discussion. I think it was important to hear that and have that on record, because we are trying very hard. You all have been working very hard on this. Unless there's any other questions, I'm gonna make a motion that we need to open a hearing, don't we?
I already did.
Oh, you did? I'm gonna make a motion then that we complete and proceed with the following appropriations as advertised.
Motion made by Anton, second by Daniel. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Motion carried. Yeah, I hereby close the public hearing.
And then, yeah. And then,
Yeah, give me two.
now we do want to say a good word about Benita.
Yeah.
She attended our Association of Indiana Counties Conference. The first time she'd ever been to ever such a thing like it. And I tell you, I've never seen someone so ecstatic and energized for attending an event like that. She enjoyed the workshop. She was in the highway breakout session, met some new people, talked shop, learned a lot, really gained a lot from that. So we appreciate whoever sent her. That was a good idea. I think it definitely helped. So,
She was
Yeah.
soaking it all in.
and she was fun to be with. So, yeah.
Did you get any free stuff?
I've got stress balls just for you.
Oh,
Give me a big one.
That was a very good conference. It was very good, very informative. I think we will, at the end of every day, our heads were hurting, weren't they?
Yes.
All right, let's go on to old business, jail project review. I talked with Jeff Peters yesterday. He said, so Frost, Brown, and Todd's taken over the bond council, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so just kind of, could you tell us where that's?
sure. The next step is, at its next meeting, the commissioners will review the proposals. And my suggestion was that an evaluation team meet to do that work. And that can be composed of whomever the commissioners choose to do the review. Probably ought to include, for example, somebody from the sheriff's office and that sort of thing. Once that evaluation occurs, then the commissioners will have to vote and make a decision about which direction to go in terms of who's going to do the construction. And that sort of starts everything in terms of getting the bonds and all that.
Okay.
But these next couple steps have to occur first.
Okay, great.
Not to interrupt, I spoke to the attorney there, and spoke with Sheriff Watt. There's already a jail committee that consists of the sheriff, commander, Council Paul, I think you're on the jail committee, wasn't you?
It's been a while since we made that committee, so.
The former commissioners on, so one of the commissioners will be on it.
Huh?
And at our next meeting, what I'd like to do, another two commissioners here, we can't make no decisions, but instead of delaying, because if we open it up next Thursday and see who it is, then we have to have that committee to look at it. I think the commissioners will call for another meeting almost immediately, like the following week. The committee will meet, we'll discuss it, if we have to stay all day, discuss it, get our head wrapped around it, and we'll move on.
Great.
Because if don't, it's gonna be delayed till the 2 weeks down the road for our next meeting. Then I think we just get the committee together, look at it, establish the guidelines. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
Yeah, that's right.
Don't make me misspeak, so it'll cost me, I'm sure. That way,
That sounds
that way
good.
there won't be a delay.
Sure.
So I'm going to ask a what if. So what if the loan, because there was only one bid, I guess, that was submitted in this, is that correct?
We haven't seen anything. She looked at them all, and she did say that there was only one
Only one
that was
response.
returned, that
form.
the commissioners haven't looked at, and
Okay.
we're not going to look at anything.
So assuming that that is opened as planned and reviewed through the normal process, what if that is considerably more than what was anticipated or estimated at that point? Then what happens?
Well, then we get the committee put together, and we look at the sheriff and say, sir, pretty much the ball is in his court.
Okay.
At that point, if it's too much that we can't do, it really falls on him to kind of give us an idea whether we can do this or do that or whatever. A lot of it's going to be up to him, the chief, and the commander and stuff like that. We'll just kind of have to go with their recommendations.
Okay. So obviously a regroup. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that we're good overall. And if it's close, then that's not really a big deal. But if, I'm talking if it's much different, then obviously we're gonna have to put pause, reevaluate, and have that opportunity to see what our options are at that point. So,
And once we have the committee meets, then it comes back before the commissioners. Whoever gets appointed to the committee, then we'll discuss it in the commissioners meeting, and we'll make sure we discuss it with the council. We're not, we'll make sure everybody was on the same page before we pull the hammer on anything. I'm gonna make sure our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. We just, I don't know what that number is, I don't know what they've sent, we haven't looked at it, we're not gonna look at it until it gets opened up in the next meeting,
When's that meeting?
next Thursday, sir, 6 o'clock.
and specific, oh, yeah, go ahead.
So your timeline, you guys open it on the 23rd, I have to have it to paper by the 24th. The soonest it would go in the paper is the following week, so the 31st is the soonest you could have a meeting, a committee meeting. And then they meet on the 3rd, they're not meeting again until their December meeting.
Well, we can have another meeting.
Puts you a whole month between you
No.
two, are we?
We're not gonna, we'll meet with the committee, and then the commissioners, we can call as many meetings as we need
That's a
to.
good question.
They're meeting on the if we're meeting on the 31st, then I suggest, I don't know, I don't have a calendar in front of me, I suggest that the commissioners hold another meeting after the jail committee meeting, hold a special meeting to discuss the jail. Only the jail we can vote on, then move on. When they're meeting on the 3rd,
Why don't you have it on the 3rd, if they're meeting at 6 o'clock on the 3rd for just the township thing, you could maybe have it.
Well, the 3rd, November 3rd was going to be our regular meeting.
24th
You-
is our other meeting.
Yeah, 24th is our township
Which is
meeting.
the day
Just let
after
you
the
know you
commission.
got a month in between your guys' meetings,
let's not, okay.
Okay, if,
because I know you have a specific timeline you're
does
trying
the, does the council need to meet an extra time in November? Would that help?
If we meet with the jail committee meeting on the 31st, and they're meeting on the 3rd, is that a regular meeting, the 3rd?
Uh-huh,
What time do we meet, at 6 o'clock?
uh-huh.
So we meet next 23rd. We know we're gonna meet with the jail committee meeting on the 31st. Commissioners will call for a meeting on the 3rd. We'll have a meeting on the 3rd during the day, then we'll come and see them at night. We can vote on, is that doable, Sheila? Sorry, commissioners, don't mean to say you're gonna be meeting, but commissioners, sorry, don't be meeting. Maybe. Would that work?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
We have a meeting on the 3rd, we could then do that.
Monday, can you be here? Are you gonna be late, it's on a Monday?
That's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Well, I was sick if they want.
But we can have it at night. No, theirs is at night.
Ours is at night.
Is it-
Sorry, Dave, you're gonna have to call.
We'll make it.
Well, that way it'd be done on that day. If Dave can make it work. If Dave can't make it work, I'm not, I'm going to do a Dutch, but I'm not gonna do that one.
So we actually,
Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Then we won't be all scheduled and then we move right on with the jail project. Hopefully it comes in within the law, 9 months.
So are you opening that bid on the 23rd? Is it, I mean, on your meeting on the 23rd? Okay.
Packet that got returned or whatever, so.
And then
Yeah,
you're, go ahead.
So from our standpoint, meeting-wise, there's nothing additional we need to add to the calendar then?
No, not if we're going to do it that way.
The 3rd is the 3rd, and we'll take advantage of
I
that
mean, not that I know
opportunity.
of, unless, I'm not opposed to having another meeting if we need it. So,
Well, if we go earlier in the day, then you'll have what we've come up with.
Yeah.
You can just add it to your agenda.
yeah.
But I would put this out there that once this jail thing kicks off, we might have to have some extra meetings
Mm-hmm.
between all of us. I don't know, delay stuff, wait 30 have
Right,
a
right.
few extra meetings throughout the end of the year.
Yeah, we could have a schedule of extra, we've done that in the past, where if we need it, it's already advertised, but we can always cancel it or not follow through.
We've got 2 advertised in October, 2 in November, and 2 in December, trying to catch the
Okay.
budget, so maybe we could catch.
So we already
advertised.
have 2 in November then?
Yes.
Yes, the 24th, right? Yeah.
I know I sent you all an email, and part of my reason for that email I sent you last week was when this jail project does start, I think that there's gonna have to be a lot more special meetings, or we just have 2 meetings a month, because there's gonna be things that we can't wait for, because if we're delayed here, then that puts this contractor behind, which puts the next contractor behind, which puts the next contractor behind, and we don't wanna get out of their rotation. I think we're gonna end up having to do this a lot more.
Yeah, so we can put that, we usually did the 4th Monday of each month as an extra, just in
We could
case.
just, I mean, like in the
Yeah.
next year, we could just go ahead
Just
and
work it in.
advertise that. I mean, have the first Monday and, or second Monday and then the 4th one.
Well,
And then if we
yeah.
didn't need it,
We
then.
don't have to use
Right.
it, which is, but it's advertised, because that's our biggest problem here, is this advertisement
Yeah.
stuff. If we didn't, if we had a daily, and we had, it would be no big deal,
Right.
but we just don't have that luxury. So, but
So we
can
could just like
preview it.
from the whole year, have like the second Monday and then the 4th,
I
and
think
then
once
if we don't.
break ground, it's gonna be busy.
Yeah, and I would say we'd also want it to be efficient too, so just having a meeting because we can.
Right, yeah.
We need to be efficient, we need to meet when we have to, and not use all these dates up if we don't need them. So, but we do have to advertise them, otherwise we're not.
If we advertise them and don't need them, great. But
Yeah.
if we do, it's available.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was Barnes and Thornburg that was gonna do the bond council part, so now it's Frost, Brown, Todd. I will say, on the financial end, just to answer a question we had from our last meeting, we talked about maybe budgeting for a bond payment, but Jeff Peters did indicate that we shouldn't do that yet, that we should
Right.
wait. So when we did our hearing, half hour ago or whatever, it did not include any line items for bond payments.
You got a motion there from you, man?
He said that we can, once we know what the bond is and the payments, then we can do additional appropriation in '26 for that specific purpose. And of course, we'd know what '27, '28, et cetera would eventually be, so. Just want to make sure we put that on the record.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else about the jail project? All right, moving on to the insurance review.
All that seemed to, can we squeeze the 911 in? I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
hate to make
So they don't
you
have to
guys
stay here,
for
though.
another hour to just introduce and.
No, I'm glad you did that.
come on up.
This is Deborah Simmons. Thank you. She is the new 911 director. She starts on the 20th.
Yeah, welcome.
Glad to have you.
Sight for sore eyes.
We are very excited to have her, and we got a lot of work to do. So we're excited to have her here and to get this ball rolling. So she's here to introduce herself, and if you guys have any questions or anything, and how she's going to fix all the problems the county has.
And quickly.
She's committed to fixing dispatch and any other county problems you guys want to bring to her. That was right, wasn't it? So,
And your start date will be coming up?
The 20th, yes.
so she comes to us from Putnam County. She was assistant director for Dave when he was director there. So we've been 24 years, doing this for 24 years. She actually worked for Owen County. Back when I first started on the road, she was a dispatcher then. So was here for a couple years, so then went to Putnam County. And through Dave, we were able to kind of network out there, and he was able to mention this position to her, and she was interested, so.
So you worked in the old tin can
Yes,
of
yes.
Well, when I think when Dave mentioned this possibly to her, she's like, I want to meet.
I want to see what I'm getting
Make
into,
sure I'm
right?
not walking into that
Yeah.
closet again, 'cause I don't want that.
That was a tiny little
So,
place.
yeah, I think she was happy with the center that we got.
It's a very nice center.
It has changed a little bit.
Yes, it.
Very glad.
Well, we're paying for Dave's opinion, so let's hear it. What do you got to say?
You got a lot of work to do. I mean, there are some challenges. I met with Matt and Chris, and I'm on board, Sam quite a bit. So right now you're down 3 dispatchers. So I think that's kind of the theme for us here today, is to talk about how we can increase our retention and acquire qualified people. One of the things that was brought up to me was dispatcher training, and I don't think anyone was aware that there actually is a state statute existing, it was passed last year, that specifies dispatcher training. So we're going to have a challenge meeting that state statute. And the big challenge is that how do you train people and also have them work behind a console? So, and if you're short-staffed, your main goal is just trying to get a warm body in there to answer calls, not to let us try to do training. So we're going to get full staff, then we're going to have to work on our training. We're going to make sure we meet state statute, because it's a liability for your county that you're not, it'd be like, sitting on EMT that hasn't had CPR training, and he's going to go out and do CPR. You've got dispatchers in there that are actually trying to do CPR on the phone and not CPR trained. So that's how bad it is. So I don't think there's any of them that have, all of them have meet all the requirements of state statute. So,
And will you be part of that training, or will we be bringing in a firm or an individual, or how would we best keep those in place as much as we can, but still get the training?
well, I think part of our challenge here, and I think your name was mentioned with Matt, that we're gonna try to put a proposal here before the council to talk about, I think the concept is that if an employee has 5 years of experience, they may be taken to, because I think when you do your salary study, you have a medium level of salary. I think we'd really like to look at that for those public safety dispatchers that meet that 5-year experience and give them that middle level pay. I think that'll cause more motivation for people to apply for the job and more
Kind of
people
like we
to
did
stay
with
for
the
that.
deputies, right?
Yes.
I see where, yes, and
That's
we
exactly
were
what
very
it was.
successful with that on the deputy side. We actually gained our first kind of lateral transfer, if you will, two.
That do something.
So we could have like a senior dispatcher and a probationary, or whatever we want to call them.
Right.
And yes, I think we should definitely work on
So
that.
the 911 board met today, and we established a kind of a subcommittee with the 3 of us, and then council liaison, Anton, you were involved with the matrix for the sheriff's office. I think we can, so like you said, we can use that as a basis, as a starting point, and not have to completely reinvent the wheel. We've got something to work with that worked for us, so.
Yeah, it'll just take a little bit of time, but I think we
Yeah.
need to start on something like that, and maybe
Yeah.
Polly can be involved with that
Yeah,
too.
so if we can get, and I'll reach out to you guys here soon, try to set a date for an initial sit down and meet and talk about what the goals are, what homework we need to do, to put this together. Like I was telling them, I think we went through A through J on drafts on that thing, so, it's nothing that.
Surely this won't be as complicated.
That happens real quick, but yeah, it was kind of.
So we're looking at
how
a
that process
restructure.
worked for us, yeah.
And I think you mentioned the concept before, it may not be pertinent, or it may be, but the thought of having like a supervisory type
Yeah, so-
position.
Yes, that's something we.
Each shift or something,
Yes,
having a
absolutely.
designated individual.
Yes.
So that's still in the thought process.
Absolutely, that's why.
Maybe
we-
not an assistant director, but maybe
Correct.
2 supervisors or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And we're,
I-
kind of right
yeah.
now, we're waiting, at least I am, I'm kind of watching the clock and waiting on the 20th, so Deborah can come in and we can sit down and, you know, officially get this process rolling here. Because I'll tell you, you know, I've talked to the dispatchers and, you know, it's tough over there right now. They're down
Still
3,
is.
like I said, they're working constantly. I'm really, really concerned, and I know everybody says this, but every day it gets more and more when I talk to them that it's just gonna get too much, and people are gonna say, I can't work this much anymore, I just can't do it, you know, and obviously when that happens, it just compounds the problem, so.
Well, maybe there is some,
Yeah, well, and
some
Deborah
positive
was-
encouragement here with,
Deborah was talking of some potential, you know, people that she may know through her career that could be interested in coming over here that have experience. That would be wonderful, you know, talk about getting a, you know, a shot in the arm boost there for what we're working with right now. It would be phenomenal to be able to get some experience over here to limit that amount of training from that brand new person, to where really we're familiarizing them with our equipment and our system. They know how to do the job already. That, I can't even tell you how beneficial that would be. But again, if they're, you know, someone that's been working for 10 years, they're not gonna come over here and start for a
Zero.
For a, you know, brand new employee at base pay, so, you know, again, time's always our enemy here, but we wanna do it the right way, yet we really need some things to happen. We need it to happen quick, and I at least wanna be able to show the dispatchers that I keep telling them, you know, hang on, keep your heads above water, we're working on it. I wanna be able to at least show them there's a light at the end of
Yes.
the tunnel here. But it's coming, you know, just hang on a little longer. So it's ultimately what
well,
we
we will
do.
get started.
Um,
How about the radio project, and, you know, there's that going on too,
Yeah.
and that's perhaps a bit much to throw.
Well, so
But it is
inter-
interconnected.
Yeah, interestingly enough, they just did at Putnam County, the same radio system that we're doing, so.
Oh, wow.
That's convenient, so it's not a complete, you know, it's not a different language. They know what's going on with it, so just updating on that and where
Okay.
we're at with it, so I don't see it being huge. And again, on the 20th, we're not gonna, you know, walk out the door and say, see, that's your problem.
And I appreciate that.
So, there's still a lot of involvement, so.
And so, real quick, the radio project, can you give a brief update on that?
There is no update on it.
Okay.
At this point, we're still dealing with the new tower, and hardware is still being built right now. so,
Okay. Just wanted to know.
Yeah, the same thing I asked today at the 911 board meeting. So, yeah, I'll send some emails out.
Yes.
Try to set a date up, for, you know, who is the council liaison for 911?
Need to bring the-
What's that?
yeah, I think I am
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
there.
You too? Okay. All right. Well, again, I don't know how that works. I don't know who all wants to be involved. You know, again, the more input, the better. We need to get, something done that's gonna again benefit. And I'll be honest, I didn't, you know, when we did the matrix for the sheriff's office, it was a good idea, and I'm thinking hopefully this will work, but it did work out pretty good for us so far. We've had, like I said, we got two certified employees since then, and, you know, granted, one of them now just got deployed, but yeah, it was good, so I think it's something we need to look at and restructure, so.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We are so glad you are here.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Can we make it the 15th instead of the 20th? Yeah.
Well, Dave was just recently told that he misread his contract, and it was actually 6 years and not 6 months. That's what he gets for not reading the fine print. All right, well, thank you, and we'll,
All right,
Thank you very much.
we'll get with you guys for a meeting, and, yeah, we'll go from there, so.
Yeah, and I found the list, and it is you and me, and of course, Anton. We need your guidance as well, so that would be great.
All right. Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, thank you, welcome. All right, now insurance review.
Do we want to let the sheriff go next
Oh,
anyway,
well, okay.
since this is kind of connected, or we can get to the insurance next, but.
I didn't figure it would take a whole lot, because just an,
So we didn't, there's my email too, so I don't know, I didn't have the handbook, and I don't know what training.
What do you think?
You don't want to know, Anton.
No?
he said he's not having fun.
What is it?
I said he said he's not having fun.
I'm fine, once.
All right, well, we'll go on to the sheriff's department new position, and then we'll go back to the insurance review. Descriptions in your packet?
So is this a brand new position, or is this the secretary?
This is the Secretary
Oh,
of
okay.
Evidence.
The evidence man.
Yeah.
So you said earlier, just in brief conversation, that you wanted to make sure that the stuff that this individual is going to be responsible for is properly scored.
Yes.
You looked over that job description. Was there anything that needed to be added, modified, changed?
So,
And that's something you can just send us so we can get it to where it needs to go and get it finished. So you don't have to be so on the spot today, but we budgeted for an estimated amount already anyway, which is gonna be the bulk of it. So money-wise, we're good.
so
We just
some,
need to get the correct classification set on it.
right, so some of the things that I want to make clear is, while a lot of this stuff does apply to Donna's responsibilities, this person is going to have a lot greater of a responsibility when we're talking about evidence. This individual is going to be handling extremely dangerous things: fentanyl, crack, biohazards, blood, tissue, unlike the secretary position. This is not your normal position. They will have a dangerous job, and they understand that. And that's why the right person is going to have to be there who understands handling medication, understands handling fentanyl, and how you do that safely. Because if you just touch it,
Right.
you're in trouble.
So what about swapping, maybe the focus was too much on just this secretary in the office thing, and why not just approach it more from just a evidence room manager and with incidental secretarial?
Right.
You see where I'm
The
going with that?
secretarial part will be
Secondary.
secondary
Very
compared to
secondary.
this, yes. And the other part is,
Okay.
all the court testimony, you have to understand, any major case or even any minor case, this person will have to testify in court, unlike Donna or Nicole. This is a lot more law enforcement related than those duties are. And I'm taking nothing away from Donna.
Sure.
Or
It's just
Nicole.
different.
It's just different, yes.
So can you maybe provide a summary of the key parts and points so that we can then get that where it needs to be and
Yes.
get that work done?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be, I think, a good idea.
I
Because
think
that's
it-
what I kind of thought it would originally be.
Well, I think a lot of it's, a lot of these points and the duties part of it is going into detail and breaking these down a little bit more
Yeah.
from what it just is here. This is kind of just generic.
Yeah.
And that's talking negatively towards me because
Yeah, because there's only like 4 or 5 bullets for the evidence, and then everything else seems to be,
Right.
I think it needs to be reversed.
you know, Donna's job, or her current job.
Because when you're talking about handling of evidence, that's the gist of it, but there's a lot involved in handling evidence.
Yeah.
chain of custody.
What about is there a particular training regimen or anything that can follow with that position? Or?
We will probably have them shadow with the state police clerk because they deal with it on such a large scale that their systems are pretty refined on how to do it and how to do it properly. But as far as a training, an organized training regiment or system, that I don't know of one. If there is, it's my ignorance. I'm not aware.
For some reason, I just think it would, just by virtue of what they're dealing with. But
There are some evidence manager classes out there, but they're very general.
Okay.
And every evidence room is a little different on how they operate. You're also dealing a lot with the prosecutor and different labs and with courts. So there are some differences, and it also, like for instance, dealing with evidence today is going to be different than it is dealing with evidence once the new jail's done. It's completely different evidence room, completely different file management system, completely different pass-through, and that new facility will have safe evidence handling areas that we don't have now. So that'll all change. So it's kind of hard to go to a class that's can give you some general stuff, but a lot of it's going to be local and kind of on the job stuff and learning how we work around here and how the prosecutor's office and the courts work with the evidence.
okay.
The safety aspect though, yes.
I have a question about the job description. Ryan, you mentioned that there's a possibility of handling bloodborne pathogen. Do you have that they need to get the Hep B shot on there? Because it is usually necessary if you're dealing with bloodborne pathogens that they do the series of Hep B shot to help protect them.
Two of the three people who are interested in the position, depending upon pay, are nurses. So that
Well, I
they
mean, as far as your job description, that might be something that.
Probably should include that.
probably should.
You have to have a certain number, like a certain amount of medical shots vaccinated, or prep in some capacity.
And because this isn't a job for anybody who's squeamish. It's going to be gross, extremely gross. It's going to be dangerous when you're dealing with certain narcotics. So this isn't normal. This isn't a normal job. The officer deals with it on scene. This person's going to, maybe once a week, twice a month, maybe. This person's going to deal with it every single day.
I've got a question. Under duties, it says prepares lab examination forms and transports items to state police laboratory and court for examination as directed. The transports, are they gonna need their own vehicle?
They're going to need to get to Indy. So what we will probably end up doing is stripping one of our pool cars. At this point, I don't know any other option, but strip it of all police markings for transport. But yeah, they're going to have a vehicle. We can't make them drive their personal vehicle to Indy that often.
Yeah.
With fentanyl in it, yeah. Where they put their kids.
Highway department will say a distribution truck.
What's that?
So the highway department will say a distribution truck.
Transport a lot of people in that tank.
Yeah, we'll pay zero. No, from the sheriff's department. So also, is there anything involving driving then, or any kind of like?
It says transport. It does say transport.
Yeah.
Seen it.
Does it allude to transport, or does it? Maybe it needs to go a little bit more into depth on what's expected in terms of driving and.
Transport items to
Obviously,
state
a
police
valid
laboratory.
motor vehicle
It says
license.
transports.
Are they gonna need any hazmat certifications or anything like that?
Any what?
Hazmat certifications?
No.
Okay.
Not enough at a time?
No, their only hazmat would be biological blood, tissue.
There's not large amounts enough to.
Right, most of it's going to be packaged, but keeping in mind that there are things that you can't submit a certain way, you'll have to dry it. So if it was a blood-soaked shirt, the blood has to dry. They would have to make sure that it's in the evidence room in a position to be air dried before it's put into a package and sealed, but they will be handling that material.
Yeah, because you can't have mold growing on things,
No.
and you can't have.
And they have to know how to package it. Certain things can't go in certain types of packaging. It has to go in Some has to go in plastic, some has to go in paper, and you have to know the difference.
It is actually quite fascinating if you think about it. I mean, it's really an interesting subject area.
You gotta make sure you put your tape on the right spot, because, let me tell you,
Miss Mary will get you.
she will get you every time.
So, yeah, I think if they can have an opportunity to send just whatever you feel is critical to that description that's missing, or that you want looked at, send a summary to me and Polly.
Okay.
And then we can then get that updated at that point.
Okay.
And then we can just, the budget's easy. That part's easy. Because we already committed to that. We just have to adjust it to make sure, absolutely sure it's correct, so.
Okay.
And we were counting on it as a regular 40-hour a week. Okay, so we budgeted for 2,080 hours on it. Okay.
Yeah, they'll have a nightmare on their hands at first. Absolute nightmare. I do not envy them.
The employee that has had the added duties, we also took away the $1 an hour though, because those duties are going away. So
They're clear on that.
Okay, just want to make sure, because that's an unusual thing, but it's incidental.
But I assure you,
He'll probably be happy to shed that.
happy to shed it.
Okay.
Not at first, but
Yeah.
down the road, yes.
Okay, well, great. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, now insurance review.
Why don't we go ahead and put someone else ahead of this?
Not really much of an update. The commissioners voted on United Healthcare. We're in the process of getting packets to them. They've scheduled employee. We did 3 different locations. I believe we're coming to the highway one day, EMS one day. Has Lindsay got with you yet? For them to come in and do their open enrollment and that process and provide them information. They assure us they will have everybody transition cards to everybody before January 1st to start the new year. And your $10,000 is that you budgeted probably will be more than
Good.
what we're going to need.
Good.
They're also giving us a one-time $20,000 bonus. So when that comes in, we can either put it in the 5,200, where we're short money, we can put there so we have a little bit of a buffer. It can go in the county general, whatever we want to appropriate it for. But
So United Healthcare, beginning of the year, Anthem, no. There'll be a switch at that point.
yes,
All right.
And you've got, what is open enrollment? When is that?
it started in October where you go and sign up and what you want to carry and not carry, and they have all your information.
Well, I mean, what dates are they?
November 5th and 6th.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I've got 5th and 6th.
The 6th one is the one I know for sure we're moving down to the
The
EMS
EMS.
building because there's commissioners meeting that morning. And I thought she was
She
going
was
to check.
working on getting it to where they came out to us, so I didn't say
Yeah,
anybody
I
was
think
going.
there'll be a 3rd day, I'm sure. Just makes it easier.
Will we have information, what they're gonna ask us?
Yes.
Is everything transferred beforehand?
I believe Nancy got the paperwork from them today and did back and forth with where they need to get out to all department heads to get to their employees as soon as possible. Mostly because of the open enrollment dates. If you have spouses that have better insurance or you think you'd be better off than with this one, you want to give them plenty of time to transition if they want to change and not go with county insurance. Yes, I'm sure she got it.
Well, great work on
Right.
that, yeah. And we appreciate Bill C. Brown for really helping us and be on our side through that process.
They still do have the pending suit that they have filed on our behalf because we were promised the 2nd year and they're still going back for us at their expense to try and get us
Oh, great.
some more money back and go from there.
All right. Okay, moving on to Commissioners WIS Human Resource Position and Policy Update Proposal.
Perfect timing, Norm.
Well, we're just discussing that, we voted on the contractor, right, last time?
You better get your meeting on human resources and the personnel policy though.
So the idea was to have that person update our personnel policy, which we know is lacking. What I'm told, I'm taking everybody's word for it. So, Dave, feel free to chime in. That was our thought, to try to get the personnel policy fixed.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then we have, for lack of a better way of saying, we have some teeth in what we actually have. I'll just give you a real quick example from an IT side of a policy. We do not have a policy on administrative rights for workstations. We don't have that policy, it does not exist. So we're gonna get one in place, but it should have already been in place.
Yeah.
If we're handing out machines, devices to folks, there should be a policy dictating, how can we have it to school, here's what you can and can't do on it, this is what rights you have. There should be an understanding that even though this is your machine, this data is not yours. It belongs to the county, and if need be, it will be able to be looked at by executive or whomever at the county level. That's not your data. So when you say, no, you're not looking at my email, you don't have that option.
Right.
But that has to be in policy. It's not, as far as I know.
Which, of course, creates problems if there was a termination or, you know.
If there's a problematic split,
Yeah,
it could crop up.
yeah.
So that's kind of what we were looking at as far as updating the policy part of this.
And I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, yes,
Right,
yes,
it has to be
yes.
done.
And they estimate that even top dollar might be 20,000
Yeah.
for that. And I think we could just appropriate some kind of one-time money. It could be out of Riverboat or something like that, and just start getting it done.
Right.
In fact, I'll make a motion that we advertise for up to 20,000 out of Riverboat and go ahead and get that on our next meeting agenda to proceed.
Motion made by
Is that the
Anton.
number? I can't remember.
It's anywhere from 16.8 to 19.6.
19.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, I just think it's imperative.
What about the next group, the Human Resources Consulting Services?
It's kind of we were
It's
kind of
gonna be
doing
more
two
budgetary.
separate. So let's do this first. So we've got a motion by Anton. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Joe. Does anybody have any questions on it? Yes.
So you guys still have money
In our budget?
Your 30100 in your council fund, the extra funds that were there, that would keep you from having to do an additional appropriation. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to keep that general fund balance as good going into this final part of the year as it is. That's just an opinion, but
What do we got in Riverboat?
$232,382.
So did we have a second on your?
Yeah.
We did. Okay. So is everybody good with it coming out of Riverboat, or you got any other questions on that? Or- All right, all those in favor?
thank you for your work in getting that. Will there be a committee set up to, work through some of the details and look through the drafts and?
Yes.
I mean, like,
I don't know who's, have we talked about bodies? I don't remember.
Gonna try to keep it limited because 15, 20 people, you don't
Correct.
get anything done,
Yeah.
so
We talked about maybe 4.
luckily Diane and Shelley are on it, or partly be part of it. But yeah, try to keep it limited and move forward.
Pretty smart.
The good thing with that, and WIS is they're familiar with our
Yes.
wages and that kind of structure, and so the human resources will kind of go hand in hand a little bit with it as well. I think it'll move quicker than.
and maybe there could be some drafts that are shared over time with I want to make sure comp time policy, I want to review that carefully. There are some financial components that are connected to that policy that we want to make sure we have some early review on rather than, here's the final product, take it or leave it. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to review those drafts.
I have a question. Because we voted on going forward with the HR January or February maybe? So, I mean, we didn't appropriate any money at that point yet. We just voted to go forward. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Just waiting for job descriptions and more information and.
We
Okay.
finally got to this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So to back up to your question or statement or whatever, so all these things that we've seen crop up over the last several years now that we know are issues, that's the kind of thing that the committee needs to know and that we need to work through. So when these drafts come back and people setting up here and people setting out here are like, well, don't forget that we had this come up.
Yep.
Then that's when you fix the policy, and then that's when it becomes airtight, and we can accept it as our policy, and or ratify it, or however you want to look at it. But we need to address all those little things that individuals remember that needs to happen, because if we don't, we're going to be sitting right back in here trying to solve the same problems again.
Yep.
Right.
And a copy of the policy was sent to every department about a month ago, the last month, and there's only 3 people that I've heard back from on it.
On the
Busy
current.
working.
On the current one, and so it's gonna be like pulling teeth a
Yeah.
little bit and saying, okay, we're gonna be working on this week or the next meeting. Look at your books, what do you think, if you have anything to add, so you have it ahead of time and not have to go back and change a lot of stuff, but it's just.
You know, if they're not willing to participate, I mean, I hate to be this way, but then they get what they get.
Right.
Yes, I mean, I agree. The only thing is this is a living document.
Right, I mean, it's not set in stone.
Right, we want to make sure
Right.
as many stones are overturned as possible because, you know.
I think we're all on that same page,
Yeah.
but you can't get let out of a turnip either. You have to have some participation. You know, if you want to be heard, you have to talk.
We need to get all the departments' heads inputs on that.
100%.
What they've seen over the years, what they've dealt with, because we basically never had this stuff.
You ain't got time.
So in a couple years, when the final draft is ready. But it's okay to take a little bit of time though, because we want it to be thorough and.
A little bit of time, yes, we.
Nothing wrong with that.
We also need to move it forward.
True.
So, I mean, it's a happy meeting.
Yes, you're right.
Who's in charge of this committee?
Shelley Townsend.
You are.
All in favor?
All I know.
Oh, man.
Who's coming on here?
Which is fine. I did take the manual with me to conference and reviewed the first 25 pages, and there are some serious issues.
That's right.
You would be great.
She would be, yes.
That's more than anybody else.
She's already 25 pages
Chairman
in.
right there.
But I'm also the internal control guru. I mean, I am very stuck on that these days. Probably since I came to an elected position, it's very important. And so if I just need to know who is setting up these meetings, who do I contact to set up the meeting? 2, where's the internal controls part of that? I don't know if Jack's doing this by himself or EMS or 911. If they're going out and telling Addie at the policy place, we want X, Y, and Z, and there's no review over that.
Oh.
Who's accountable? for
Everything
that?
needs to funnel through the committee.
Yeah.
100%.
And Addie will be the lead if she says this is where we're going or what we're doing. That was how I got it, when she was writing it that day, so.
Yeah, I think she's our contact point. but-
She's very good and easy to work
Yes.
with.
But, yeah, I would like to see everything go through the committee now. Personally.
Yeah, we did speak with her at conference.
Yeah.
Introduced ourselves and talked with her a little bit about that. And I just didn't know who was heading it up.
And they did a workshop. They were a part
Right.
of a panel at the conference. It was outstanding panel, and the level of detail was huge.
Very good, very good.
Yeah,
Got
so,
lots of notes.
yeah. And then we were gonna, just kind of tying into budgets, you remember, we had some positions where there were recommendations to go to a new excluded category and things like that. We decided to hold off on that until this part is done.
Yeah.
Because there could be some things that need to be tied in with that and stuff. So we're just gonna sit tight on our part until that gets
Well, like you said,
going.
it's a living document.
Yeah.
It's not set in stone. We can add to as needed, but we would like to get some of the obvious holes plugged.
Mhm.
And, you know, this committee may be in place from now on, for all. Because somebody, if there is changes that need to be made in the future, if something comes up that no one thought of, obviously, this would be the place to start, run it through Addie, and then, of course, everyone would get to weigh in on it, and then it would be put into place. We want to catch as much of that up front as we can, but we're going to miss something just because of the mass of the information we'll be dealing with.
Yeah.
And you're asking us to rewrite the Constitution. A lot of words. So.
There's a lot in there.
I think you'd be great for it, Shelley.
Thank you, Jeff.
I think she was asking me.
Close second. Excuse me.
She volunteered me, so we'll go with that.
The second part is is more of the ongoing, you know, having the available HR services moving forward. And it looks like you already have outlined all that, and they're, you know, it's a professional service and it's just time oriented. There's no way to know, but we do have a rate, kind of like legal. And the best we can do is just budget, which we already really have.
Right, we have.
Budget a guess and see where it takes us.
A year from now, we'll have a better fit.
Yeah.
Right.
And until we do, we're kind of shooting in the dark here, because two things are going to happen, and this is Norm's opinion, but two things will happen. Number one, the first year is going to be high, because there's so much.
Catch up.
But after that, I think it'll actually drop as far as time used, because things will be in place that will take care of some of the issues before they ever crop up. This first year, everything's going to be boom, you know, and we're going to have to deal with it. There's going to be time associated with that. Once we get this document we're talking about in place, and we have the human resources in place, and everyone's on the same page, then we should see it taper off, I hope. And it won't
More
be
of a
as
maintenance
big.
thing.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
So in our budget for '26, we had kept the 30,000 in legal fees.
Yeah.
In our budget. Now, their letter, which I think is an underestimation, but their letter projects consulting services up to 10,000. So, but I really think maybe as far as action is concerned, since it's already a part of the budget, and I think we just maybe need to take a vote and formalize our support for it, and that our intent is to utilize, if the council wishes, utilize that line item to cover their fees. Is that something that works for you all, or is there some different approach?
In the long term, this was thought about going over to an HR person, but we didn't know what we needed or how to get started. Does that line item come out later in life and start
Probably.
to support that person if we ever get to that point?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah. Which we have our lawyer shared, and I think was a better idea anyway, but, so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we support the commissioner's decision entering into this human resource consulting services agreement, a retainer, and that the intent is to use the council budget's line item for legal fees to cover the costs.
Second.
Motion made by Anton, seconded by Joe. Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion carried. So was that, when we had talked about the HR person, was that in the commissioner's budget, or was that still?
We never really did anything with it.
I don't think we got that far down the road.
All right.
And that can still be our long-term plan. I mean, long range, 5 years down the road, maybe 3, I don't know. We'll see how this process goes. The document, the policy's gonna be the big thing. If we get the policy squared away, then maybe we can bring someone in and legitimately expect them to be able to step in and do a human resource job without being overwhelmed. Right now, if we hand them what we have, they're gonna be.
Everybody's fired.
Nice.
get that streamlined.
Except Shelley, she's still on the committee.
But you know what I'm saying? I think once we get this mountain chewed down a little bit, then maybe we can expect someone to be able to come in and actually function and get us what we're looking for human resources. Right now, I think this is the best option. Get the policies squared away, get somebody in place that knows how to handle things, and then come back and reevaluate it in a year or two.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for
Yeah.
getting it to this point. Yeah.
So do we have any additional appropriation requests and transfers? None?
No new ones?
Okay. All right, on to salary ordinance confirmation summaries.
I'm going to make a motion that we adopt those into the record.
Motion made by Anton, seconded by Daniel. All those in favor? Motion carried.
Question for you, and this might be our first human resource question. So for folks at the highway department that were laid off, they weren't terminated, they were laid off. How do we, should we be treating those as if there was no break as far as years of service? And the reason why I asked that is we did have one individual in this packet where the auditor's office and the processing, you know, had the new date of restarting. But technically, if they were laid off, and so my question is does that count against the individual? And so that's why I'm kind of concerned is, should we treat it as if there wasn't a break for purposes of longevity, or should we be treating it as a break?
So this is not my strong suit by any stretch. I was thinking that we had a policy in place where if they weren't gone a certain period of time, and I don't know what that period of time was, I did 90 days.
Well, yeah.
Treated like they hadn't left, basically.
Correct. Now, in this case, the individual was out for a little over 90. So, and that's not really pertinent and specific to the individual. I'm just talking generally. If someone was laid off and not actually terminated, does that person, like for instance, if someone leaves on a military leave, we do not consider a break. And so I would say it's similar. If someone was laid off instead of terminated, then if they return 4 months later or 5 months, then it's as if they never left. Do you see where I'm going with that?
I would think that that would be the case, but that, you're right. The
You see where I'm going with that?
would be very good for that.
Was that a highway?
But
Yes, we had one in this group that was over 90.
I think that one quit.
I had one that resigned and is back.
Yes.
Can you email me the name and then we'll just double check and then maybe we can look into, and if it's,
Yeah,
Everybody else that was laid off was contacted about returning to work and denied.
okay, so we're talking about an exception more than a rule. But in the new policy though, it probably is a good idea to talk about if someone's laid off, we do this versus that.
Write it down.
So write that down.
She is on it.
Okay, just want to make
sure.
sure.
Past practice is what we have to follow until we get policy in place, but we do need to address that. I mean, this
Yes.
is kind of things we're talking about. We'll be a year out and a lot of these will be fixed, we hope.
And we'll put that in that'll be a part of our ordinance anyway.
Right.
But it's, you know, it's just one of those little details like, never thought of that because
That's what I'm
we don't
saying.
lay
We're
people
gonna-
off that often.
We're gonna
you know,
run
just-
into those kinds of things where you're like, hey, did you think about, and we'll be like, no, we didn't, and then that's when you send it to the committee looks it over, gets it to the human resource people, and then we either get it put in the policy or change the policy to match what we're thinking, you know.
So Chad, just afterwards, come on up, we'll just look it over real quick. Yeah.
All right, elected officials and department head comments. Anybody
It's
have
you, Chad.
anything?
I don't have any.
Yay. On to public comments. I think most of our public left. All right. Auditor comments. Nope. Council, have anything? Anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I apologize for using the word essential and non-essential.
Apology accepted.
That was not my intention to degrade anybody if that's what it come off as. I apologize for that. And I looked at a thesaurus to see what I could say different. And I have not found a better one.
It's just tough, and especially, and I wasn't the only person that thought it. There were quite a few in the courthouse. And it's just, when you're sitting here and we understand, we all get it, and there isn't anything, I would personally pay all of our first responders. And we do work hard in the courthouse and a few of the other outer offices, and just want to be.
Yes, and I appreciate you ladies. I'm sorry for that.
And I have to say, I've got goosebumps because I think this is great that this has been brought up. I think we all have had our moments where we misspoke or chose a different word. And it's not a malicious thing. It's just in the heat of the moment in the conversation, we say some things and then it just gets interpreted differently. And so as long as we bring that up and we talk to each other, it's fine. It's fine. We'll all survive and it'll work out. So kudos to you all.
Thanks for bringing that up, Joe.
Yeah.
Good thing you did choose and beat you.
She never posts on Facebook. That elicited a post on Facebook. Like, oh my. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Nick's not
Yeah,
here.
Nick's not here, so you're taking over the. Thanks everyone for coming.
All right, Chad.
Mike's off.